Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to the latest edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, and my co-host, Dr. Rhonda, is logging on as we speak, and her face will be on the screen shortly. There she is. So, welcome back to the show, and we're excited to be back with you again this week. Our first guest has logged on, and I do want to give people an update about the book festival, which is rapidly approaching, and we have some really great things happening this year. Rhonda, of course, is a literary correspondent, and she'll be interviewing all of our featured authors, and we have an excellent roster this year. So, for those who haven't seen our flyer, I'll just go down the list real quick before we bring on our first guest. And we have actor and producer, director, and author Eric LaSalle. Some of you may remember him from Coming to America. Of course, he was the Soul Glow, not the actor that had the Soul Glow that was in the Soul Glow commercial, but he was the son of like the company. He still had the Jerry curl stuff in his hair, because when his whole family got up from the couch, you all remember that scene where that grease spot was on the sofa. So anyway, he has a mystery series, and he's going to be here for that. And then we have...
I'm reading it now, and the book, excellent.
Which one are you reading? The first one?
Yes, the first one. Okay. I'm going to try to have all three of them read by the time we get to the festival, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read the first one. He's a pretty good writer.
Yes, very good.
Mm-hmm. Then we have the two BJs. That's what they call themselves. Beverly Jenkins and Brenda Jackson. They're going to be appearing together. And I checked. They haven't been to Houston together in 15 years since they were with us in 2010. So this may be your only opportunity to see them both together in Houston, and they're going to be here. Then we have two mystery writers. We have Rachel Housel Hall and Brandon Massey. So they're going to be bringing the mystery thriller aspect to the event. We have April Ryan, who's a White House correspondent, and she has been for a number of years, and she was supposed to come last year, but she got COVID and had to cancel the day before. So she's going to be coming this year for the first time. And then finally, we have Kiki Swinson, who is a prolific author in the urban fiction and also mystery category. So we have a great lineup, and more excitement to come. So we're bringing on our first guest, Derrick Barnes, and Derrick is a best-selling children's author, and Derrick was a featured author at the festival. Rhonda, I think it was before you were a literary correspondent, so he may remember what year it was. I'm going to say 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. He was at the festival. So, and he's written a lot of books since then. So
it must have been right before me, because I think I've been correspondent for about 7 years. So
7 years. Yeah, it was like maybe the year, maybe 8, it may be 9 years, because he was, when we first got to Fallbrook, like the first couple of years we were at Fallbrook. So we're just waiting on him to come on camera. He had a message. He sent us a message in the chat. But okay, so now he's on the camera.
Good evening, ladies.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Good evening. Now, what does your t-shirt say? Due to personal reasons, I can never give up.
Give up. That's right.
I know that's right.
That's good. That's good. And if you don't give up, you can't lose. That's you have to keep going. And a lot of times the reward is way ahead. But if you quit, you won't get there. So
never get there. I've gotten results that I did not favor so many times that it didn't bother me to lose. I just get up, dust myself off, and get back to it because I'm used to winning every aspect of my life. So, it don't really bother me.
Yeah, well, I say it's not losing. It's a lesson. It's not losing.
Right.
It's an experience.
You either win or you learn.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. So, and we're not going to win every single time. We want to, but we're not going to win every single time. Although, we want to. So, Derrick, you were at the book festival, at the National Black Book Festival. I was trying to remember what year it was. I think it was about 8 years ago. I'm going to say.
Yeah. It had to be around the time that Crown and Ode to the Fresh Cut
yes,
came out.
It was.
So that was about 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you've been writing quite a bit since then. So you have a new book.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of it that you can show us?
I do. I got you. Yes.
All right. I got you. And that's the name of the book. I got you.
I got you. A Brother's Promise. It came out July 15th. So.
Okay. So it's been out about a month.
Yeah, about a month. It's my 21st book. So
are all of your books children's books?
Yeah. So I'm under contract for like maybe 8 more children's books. I have a middle grade novel coming out September 23rd. And we've been talking about my next step. I want to go back to school, get my PhD. I would like to teach African American literature from like a historical perspective, or I would like to do adult fiction, possibly romance. I want to kind of do something else right now. This has been an amazing run. It's been an extreme blessing. I went like 13 years without anything, really wondering if I should even keep writing. And then 2018 happened and it just changed my life. So it's been an extreme blessing every single day to be able to do what I've been able to do. And so now I'm just thinking about the next stage of my life. I just turned 50 on August the 9th.
Happy birthday.
Okay, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, in the 50s, the 50s are a decade where we're trying to accomplish what we didn't accomplish in our 40s. That's what. Yeah. So it's like it's almost like a race, because you start to realize your mortality a little bit more when you turn 50. So, but you don't look a day over 40.
Man, I just
you didn't have a salt and pepper beard. We probably wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not for judging anybody. People can do what they want to do, but it always cracks me up when I see brothers dye their facial hair. I mean, really, you just got to drink water, stop all that drinking and smoking, exercise, watch what you put in your mouth. And as long as my body and skin look healthy, I don't mind the gray, man. That's the most important thing. Just try to live a
lot
clean
of people
life.
are embracing their gray. A lot of people are embracing their gray now. In fact, some people are weaving their hair gray and putting gray braids in because they want to embrace the gray.
Yeah, a lot of young people are doing that, and I say, well, you're doing it now before it actually happens, and when it happens, you may not be doing it necessarily.
Yeah, but I think those will be the people that'll be dyeing their hair. Possibly.
Yeah. Well, whatever suits you, and whatever people do what they feel like they should, or they, our egos kick in, and we do what makes us feel good. So, everybody has something different that makes them feel good. If you're healthy, that the main thing is the healthy part, as you said, watching what you put in your mouth, exercising, moving, not just sitting. Even if your job is sitting, you need to be moving. You need to intentionally be moving. So you said 13 years you kind of were in the wilderness.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell people as authors. A lot of people don't get there. It takes you 10 years to be an overnight success. That's there's a saying about that, and that's true for a lot of people.
That's right.
So when you were struggling, or when you hadn't been quote discovered, I would say quote discovered, what were you writing about, and what were your goals, and why did you keep going? Why did you keep going?
So I always look at my career in sections. That part of my career before Crown, I really was just trying to get on. Really, I have people reach out to me all the time. Quite a few are really serious about writing. They just look at children's books as maybe another hustle or another stream of income, but they're not serious about writing. And I think before Crown, I don't think it was a hustle, or I was thinking of it as another stream of income, but I wasn't looking at myself as a artist or somebody that can be transformative in this industry. And I wasn't thinking a lot about legacy before Crown happened. So, that was a huge shift in my career. Obviously, it was a book that um, blew my career up. But I just really kind of fell into children's publishing after graduating from Jackson State University, greatest HBCU in the entire universe. In 1999, I landed my first job. Actually, I graduated in May of '99. I got a job in August as the first Black man to write greeting cards for Hallmark Cards, and that was like being
pretty cool.
Yeah, that was like being in graduate school, for me. And I met Gordon C. James, who's actually the illustrator of Crown and I Am Every Good Thing when I was working at Hallmark. And he introduced me to the young lady who's still my literary agent. I've been with her for 21 years now, Regina Brooks of Serendipity Lit. And the first contract, before I met her, I fancied myself a short story writer, a novella artist. But the first contract she came to me with was for 2 early reader books it was from Scholastic. They had started an African American imprint called Just Us Books, just for us books, not the Hudsons, just us books in New Jersey. But they started an African American imprint. It was a 2-book deal. I did it, and it seems like we started having more children, my wife and I. So I just kind of stayed in it. It was my calling. I didn't know it at the time, but I got up to maybe 8 books. Ruby and the Booger Boys was a chapter book series that came out in 2007. It was, moderately successful. And then 2010, published a middle grade novel called, We Could Be Brothers. But I just wasn't making it. I couldn't consider myself a full-time writer, and I was really struggling and very depressed. Be quite honest with you. And we lived in Kansas City, my hometown at the time. We moved to Charlotte, 2014. Still nothing happened, and moved into this house that we're in now. And this is my office behind me. It was completely bare at the time, and I used to sit on the floor. But between 2010 2016, I wrote like 35 books, seemingly, that nobody wanted. It was because I was trying to write to the gatekeepers. I was trying to write black versions of books that were already, successful. I wrote this vampire series called Dracula Jones because the Twilight series was very popular. But in this very room, I tell this story all the time. My son Solo, who's 20 now, but I think he was like 11, 10. He had just came in from outside. I was sitting on the floor right against that wall, working on maybe my 34th book that nobody wanted. And he said, "Daddy, you know what you should do? You should write the blackest book ever. They're already not publishing you." And then he just walked out of the room. And I tell you, at least 2 or 3 weeks later, I wrote the manuscript for Crown and Ode to the Fresh Cut because that young brother, he reminded me of who I was actually writing for. And to this day, every time I sit down, I think about that little boy in Brooklyn, or I think about that little girl that lives in, Liberty City, or, I think about my end user and how reading books that reflect who they are as human beings can change their lives, can change the way they see themselves, change the way they see themselves in the world. And Solomon making that one statement, reminded me of who I was. And I talk all the time about seeing pictures even of me before Crown happened. I used to show up at all the events looking like a damn substitute teacher with the sweater vest on, the tie. Like, it's like I was a storyteller, but I was like, I got to show up in all these spaces as my authentic Black self and write for these babies so they can see themselves, regardless of what kind of book bans are going on, regardless of who's in office. You're gonna always be able to count on me as long as I'm writing to create books that show our babies brilliance and show how beautiful they are. And a lot of it started in this room behind me with Solomon saying what he said. Crown changed my life. It won almost every major children's book. So um, it's been a blessing. That's why I have it on the wall across from my desk.
I
Just look at it
I
every
see
day
it.
to
I do
remind me of
remember
those
We
that
see
song.
it.
valley years. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes,
do
well,
remember that song.
out of the mouths of babes, that's biblical. Sometimes
Hmm.
children, they don't have a filter, and they can see things through their eyes that we're missing, or they
Yeah.
can validate things that we're seeing, and we're just thinking, well, maybe I'm off, maybe I'm seeing something that's really not there or something, and then
Yeah.
they'll say something to validate. That's happened to me with my daughter, so I do understand what you're saying. Sometimes they can really shed some light, and even now, even though my daughter's 29, but because she's in a different generation, she can give me some insights into what people are looking at right now,
Yeah.
where something kind of cutting through, or something that I just missed because I'm in a different generation. So,
And
you
also, and
know,
also, and also, these people closest to you, even though they may be children, they know you better than anybody else. I think, the more I think about that interaction,
that is
he
true.
he he had seen me around his house, raising him and his three brothers, and me loving on his mother every day. And I talk this pro-black, super black, loving black women, loving black people every day, but my work wasn't a reflection of that. You know what I mean? So he was like, "How come you're not writing this way?" You know what I mean? So
Right.
I thought about that recently, and so I think we have to, one, work on our craft. I talk to writers all the time about really being serious about studying the industry that you want to work in, but also write about what you know and write about what you want to see in the world. And don't try to copy what's already out there.
Absolutely.
A lot of stuff has already been done, but people have not heard your voice. Like, who are you as a black artist? And so, shout out to Brother Solo. He is a senior at the University of Texas at El Paso. He's
Okay.
one of the best safeties in college football. So God willing, he gets drafted next May so he can get his daddy a Porsche or something. That's a little inside joke we've been saying since he was in flag football. So yeah, I got sons all over the country now. And the house is getting quiet. We only have one son at the house now. So it's
Yeah,
You
well,
know, there was some,
he's in Texas, way far from me though. 'Cause El Paso's on the other side of Texas.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
in Mexico almost, man.
there was
Yes.
something that you mentioned that I wanted to touch on because I think it's important. Um, you said that you wrote 34 books before you were picked up. What
Yeah,
was that driving force that kept you going? And why, how were you able to just keep writing? It wasn't happening for you, but you said, I'm going to continue to write. What was that driving force?
I think a lot of it was my own drive and work ethic, but also from a spiritual standpoint, I figured God had brought me that far to have 8 published books, and they were published by Scholastic, Simon and Schuster. I I knew, even though like I said, I call those my valley years. I still feel like I felt like that wasn't the end of my story. And if I just keep writing, if I just keep working on something, um, I mentioned the Hudson family, Cheryl and Wade Hudson of Just Us Books. Wade, brother Wade, God bless him. I love him so much. He would call me every month, and every time I think about it, I get emotional. But so he would call me every month, and we would talk for like 20 minutes. And at the end of every phone call, he would say, "Son, it's just gonna take one book. It's just gonna take one book." And so, and my wife was always encouraging. Like I said, we met at Jackson State, and she's always been supportive of my work. Plus, I got these four little brothers watching me every day. And so what's that old saying? Children pay more attention to what you do than to what you say. So
Yes.
they are watching me as a Black artist trying to make it, stand up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, working on books. And so I was just very conscious of that. And I was like, man, I know you ain't brought me this far just to uh, leave me here. I felt that every day. Felt that every day. And
Right.
so I just kept on cranking them out. Graphic novels, chapter books, picture books, middle grade novels. I worked at the Kansas City Public Library. I got hired there in 2000. I've had so many jobs, man. If it's legal, and if it's legal, I probably have done it.
Mm.
But I was working at the Kansas City Public Library during that time, between 2011 2014. I was doing outreach, so I was driving all over the city, reading, doing story time at daycares, elementary school. I did creative writing program at the juvenile detention center in Kansas City, like 3 days a week. And you look back on those periods of time in your life, and I was really struggling. But I look back on, I was like, God was preparing me to get ready
Yes.
to travel and to speak in front of audiences. And just being a very introverted person, I never dreamt I would grow up to be somebody that travels across the country and speak. But during that time, we would go out and do our thing in the morning, and I was using the Kansas City Public Library's resources to work on my books. I can say that now. They can't find me. But we go out and do story time and do the creative writing exercises. We would be back about 1, and I would be working on the next books, man. Working on, and a couple of those books have ended up being published since Crown.
Okay.
So never throw away your work. Keep everything.
I was about to say, just because it didn't hit doesn't mean that they won't hit later. And you
That's
already
right.
have a huge body of work just waiting to be published now.
Yep, yep. I don't
Yeah.
throw away anything because it can always be changed. The middle grade novel that's coming out, The Incredibly Human Handsome Blaze, that character was a protagonist in a novel that I wrote in 2012, but we couldn't get that book sold. But I liked him so much that I took his character profile and put it in a separate file and kept it until I came up with the right story. And I thought he would be perfect. So I plucked him out of Philadelphia, where that old story was based, and I put him in Great Mountain, Mississippi, which is a fictional town that the book is based in. So I don't throw away anything, including characters.
Okay. Well, tell us about your new book in the few minutes we
Yes,
have left.
I
And
got you.
you do a lot on brothers, uh,
Hmm.
biological brothers,
Yes.
and their relationships. And you
Hmm.
mentioned in your information you sent that you had a great relationship with your brothers. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that's a great theme, and you probably have a wealth of information to draw from just
Yeah.
growing up. And then you have four sons, you said.
Hmm. Yeah.
You don't have any daughters?
No, I don't have any daughters. I
Yes.
tell people I just make Zulu warriors, man. That's it. That's it. So Ezra's my eldest boy. He's 24. He's in graduate school at Howard.
Okay.
Solo is
Okay.
20. He's the football player at UTEP.
Mhm.
Silas, the boy that's on the cover of Crown, is 18, and he's a sophomore now at Xavier University in New Orleans. And then
Okay.
our baby boy, who is he inspired the King of Kindergarten, which was my first New York Times bestseller. He just turned 14. He'll be starting his freshman year in high school this year. So
Okay, great.
yeah,
And
they
Rhonda's from New Orleans, so
okay.
uh
Yeah,
when
yeah. I
she
live down there. We
Yeah,
lived
I'm
down there
from
for
New
like 3
Orleans
years.
and I live in DC, so I have two of
Mhm.
your sons covered.
All right. I love
Yeah,
that. Aunties. Yeah,
yeah.
auntie love, man. We need it.
Exactly. Exactly. You let them
Yeah,
know if they need anything. They need to get away from the city. We know where
no
to go.
doubt. All right. I'm gonna hold you to that. Yeah, but so I was raised in a single parent household. My mother was just a little country girl from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Raised me and my brother Anthony, who's 7 years older than I am, and he was just a perfect big brother for that environment. We grew up in the hood, little 2 bedroom house, and he was just such a great example. He was the first superstar that I met. He's the kind of person even now that people look forward to showing up. When there's a function, when he shows up, the party starts, and we're like polar opposites. I'm jeans and boots, and he's nice suits and cigars. He's a regional manager for a wine company. We are just polar opposites, but he was always, so protective of me and my talents. And he always took me places with him, which was an extreme honor. Whenever your big sibling takes you somewhere, be around their friends, and he still has that energy. And I want to dedicate a book to him, but the catalyst for writing um, I Got You happened when Ezra went off to college. At my eldest boy, he went to uh, North Carolina A&T, graduated from A&T
Okay.
last year.
That's cool.
And yeah, we are HBCU family, man. And
Yeah, my
so
daughter went to North Carolina
she
Central.
went oh,
So
okay, yeah.
My daughter went to Clark Atlanta.
Yeah, HBCUs, baby,
yeah.
rule the world. So when we took Ezra to school, it's so strange that all my boys have different, relationships, with each other. But the two eldest boys, I always said that they were best friends, without actually naming it. The whole time, that's my second eldest boy. He was just so down. And when we finally drove back to Charlotte from Greensboro, he stayed in the park. He stayed in the car with my wife for like 20 minutes crying, man. I had never seen him break down like that. And
Oh,
I mean, if y'all have multiple children, whenever one person leaves the house, it changes the whole, dynamic and
Dynamic.
energy of the house. Yeah.
It does.
And so that was the catalyst. I pulled out a lot of different pictures of Ezra and Solomon. I remember when Solomon was born, Ezra was just so excited. We lived in Kenner. He was so excited to go to the hospital and finally meet Solomon, and just how important that relationship is, just that sibling, connection, whether it's your big sister or your big brother or it's the cousin that you call a big sister or brother. Like nobody shares those experiences, that you all have. What I mean, y'all have a common bond. So, my brother showed me the ropes about everything. He introduced hip hop music to me, uh, showed me how to talk to girls. He was just my world, and then I saw that within my own household, just relationships that these guys have. And I want to write a book about how important it is that men show appreciation and love for other men in their lives, especially their family members. I hadn't seen a book like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that we show our sons how important it is to verbally express how you feel about your father, about your brother, about your uncles. It's so important that we have that kind of dialogue, as men amongst each other.
Mhm. Well, I agree with you. I think it's,
yeah, I think it's
needed.
beautiful and it's something that's
Mhm.
absolutely very much needed.
Mhm.
Um, one thing that I'm glad to see more of is people concentrating on men's mental health and men's well-being. And as you say, black boy joy. It's okay for a man to be happy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
so important for men to be happy and also be able to not be ashamed to get counseling when you need it, to have
Exactly.
a
mhm.
group of brothers that you might meet with, every now and then, once a week or, whatever, and just talk about issues that may be affecting you. So, yeah, I have a group of friends from college that I consider brothers. I talk to them every week. We don't live in the same city, but I can talk to them about anything. I can call my brother Anthony, talk to him about anything. So, um,
Well,
yeah, I just try
I
to
wish we
model that behavior.
I wish we could talk longer because this is a beautiful conversation, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of the interview. um, but if you should hold your book up one more time, just to remind us.
I
I
got you.
got
Brothers
you.
from
And it's available wherever books are sold.
Ever
I'm
Books are
sure.
sold. Yes. And please support your local independent bookstore, woman-owned, family-owned, Black-owned bookstore. So
Yeah.
extremely important to do that.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you for being a guest on the show. This is your first appearance, and we've had the show for 5 years. So and during that time, you've been very busy, and congratulations on your success
Thank
with
y'all
your
very
children's
much.
books and what you're
Thank you.
doing, and your mission is
Yeah.
very important.
Thank y'all
Yes.
for having me. Hopefully I'll be back on. I go on tour starting in September. Penguin has me on a 17 city tour, so I'm gonna be pretty busy. And also, like I said, it's Solomon's senior football season, so I'm gonna be busy. But I would love to come back on the show and talk about Handsome Blaze, if possible. So
Okay, well, I'm sure. Is it with Random House? It's with Penguin Random.
yes,
Okay, okay. So I'll be in touch with your publicist there,
okay.
and we'll work on getting you scheduled for. It'll be 6 months. We normally like to have at least 6 months between interviews. So,
Okay.
but congratulations! It's
Thank you very
exciting.
much.
We were there
Thank
in
you.
the beginning when you
Yes,
came
yes,
to
y'all
the
were.
festival. So we're happy to be a part of your journey. So
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you
you're
for being
welcome.
here. God bless you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, sister.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye bye.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Okay, so we're now bringing on our next guest, and uh, Rhonda, I believe you met this young lady.
Yes,
Um,
I did. She is
she
a
was on
beautiful
your
story.
Monday night show that you
Right.
do, and her name is Monique Clesca, and her book isn't out yet, but it will be coming out soon, and it's a memoir about her girlhood in Haiti, and the name of it is Silence and Resistance. So, Monique, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you so, so, so very, very much. Thank you. And that little girl was me.
So, your book comes out next month,
Yes.
and you're promoting it in advance so we can make people aware of it, so they can pre-order or pick it up as soon as it comes out. And is this your first book, your memoir? Is it your first book?
No, it is not. And I want to really take the opportunity to say hello to Dr. Wanda, who I see online also. Thank you very much. No, it is in fact my third book. However, it is my first book in English. I've
Oh,
published a novel in French, and I published a book of essays also in French. And so this is my first book in English. Yeah, thank you.
okay. So is French the primary language of Haiti?
I would say French and Creole.
Okay.
eh, Both of them, there is quite a lot of history around that because French was the primary language, not primary, was the official language for numerous years. And now that has been rectified since the democratic movement in 1987. And so now French and Creole are the main languages, but I would say Creole is the primary language. It is more the speaking language, and it is also the written language of most Haitians. So the majority does not speak French.
Now, when you were writing the book, in English? Is it a translation or was it originally written English? Written in English?
It was in English. And
Okay.
the reason I did this was because at the time I was living in New York. And when the earthquake happened, and I suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome, eh, eh, one of the things that the psychologist who was treating me had recommended was writing. And so it was easier for me at the time to write in English. And then I decided also to take a writing course at the new school, and it was in English. So I started writing in English, and the professor asked me to be in a writing group, and that was in English. So it was just more natural for me to do it in English, to workshop in English, etc. And it just kind of followed that I said, you know what, I studied in English, let me just continue in English.
I think it's great that you did write it in English. And then we talked about this before, is that because you wrote it in English, I think that we as Americans, when we read the book, we're going to find that many struggles that we have here in the United States are not so different in other countries such as Haiti.
Absolutely. I think there are quite a few points. First of all, domestic violence is universal. And I speak about different aspects of domestic violence. And that happens everywhere. And that happens in the United States. And the United States being such a huge country, it has practically
Yes.
epidemic proportions, and it in all societies, whether we're talking Black Americans, white, Latinos, Native Americans, it is ubiquitous. So that is one aspect. Another aspect also that we can mention is, fascism in that I grew up under. Whereas the I can't say the death, the kind of the suppression of your rights, you not being able to speak. And I hear in reading a lot of what is going on these days in the United States. I can say that there are quite a lot of similarities when I see people being taken in the streets, children being separated from their parents by IC, etc. It brings back memories. These are triggering events. So there are things that are similar, very much so. And then the aspects of mothers leaving, the separation, family secrets, that is also universal. So there are quite a lot of similarities between, it's that's what it is about. It's a universal story.
So how long have you been in the United States?
It seems like forever. I came to the United States when I was 12 years old. And as you can see with my white
Okay.
hair now, I am now I am now 72. So it's
Oh,
been 60 years that I have been mostly in the United States, some of it in Haiti, a lot of it in Africa, throughout Africa, but the base has really been in the United States. I went to the university, Howard University
okay.
in Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
Then I
Hmm.
went to Northwestern University in near Chicago.
Hmm.
And so I know the United States fairly well. So yeah, it's been 60 years that I've had a kind of love and sometimes, depending on who is president, hate relationship with the
Yes.
United States. But Washington, D.C. was my base. That's when I entered the United States. I went to what we used to call at the time Chocolate City.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, both Rhonda and I have some I went to Georgetown, so I lived there for 6 years. I went to school for 4 and was there for 2 more after. And then, of course, Rhonda's there now in the
Mhm.
DMV. So,
Right.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I haven't been back to one. Every time, seems like every time I plan to go back, something happens. The last time that I had planned to go, COVID happened. So that is
Yeah.
just took everything off the table. And
Well, it's
so
time to go now.
it is. I need to plan another trip. I'm looking at
Yeah.
next year because I have 3 or 4 places I want to go next year, and that's one of them. So I have to figure out. I'm gonna have to attach it to something, an event or conference or something where I can do several things. Make a whole trip of it where I'm accomplishing several things at once because I
Yeah.
don't know how often I'll be able to go back. So when I go, I want to stay there for several days so I can get some things done that I want to get done. So
Very.
um, tell us a little bit about Haiti. Most of what we hear about Haiti is and I've been once, but it really wasn't Haiti proper because I went on a cruise and the cruise line uh, took us to Labadee, which is
Labadie. Yeah.
the private island, and but there were Haitian people there in a Haitian market selling their wares.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's when they told us that it was part of Haiti or attached to Haiti or not far from Haiti.
Yeah.
But most of the news that we get, and news is a curious thing. Um, it only presents certain things about certain places.
Yeah.
And what
Okay.
we hear about Haiti is the government is unstable. I'm just doing it like an encapsulation.
Hmm.
Bad things happen frequently, and uh, including the earthquake. And normally, if there's a coup, I'm just giving you the encapsulation that the
Right.
mainstream media gives people.
Right. Yeah.
There's a coup and the government is overturned, and another group comes in and takes over. Normally, it's violent, and then they're there for a while, and then there's another coup. So that's what we see. That's what they tell us. So
Yeah.
tell us about Haiti as a native person from Haiti. Give
Okay.
us some.
Now, I believe there are several Haitis. The
Okay.
Haiti you went to is the northern coast, where there is a special area. It is not separate and it really is not an island, but it is the northern coast of Labadie of Cape Haitian, which is the former colonial capital. Now, the other Haiti that you talked about is also a Haiti that exists because we have had quite a few unstable governments and sometimes coups d'etats. And Haiti, as an island, is very prone to natural disasters. There are
Oh,
several
yeah.
what you call techno a, earthquake zones throughout Haiti, whether it's in the north or in the south of Haiti. So that is also a Haiti with natural disasters as well as human-made disasters like the coup d'etats and the current crisis that we're going to. But there is
Mm,
also the Haiti that is the more solid Haiti, the more resistant type of Haiti, which is the Haiti where you had a people who really fought off a colonial regime, a Haiti with people who are deeply entrenched in their culture, a Haiti where you have writers, particularly French speaking writers, who've won prizes throughout the world. A Haiti where there is a vibrant musical a scene also, a Haiti that built its own religion from Africa that remained the voodoo religion, which is also extremely spiritual. So you have a Haiti that is extremely potent in terms of its agricultural products. Haiti has a chocolate And recently I was in the market and I was able to buy chocolate from Haiti. Haiti
Wow.
also, in terms of agriculture, has a essence that makes some of the best perfumes in the world. So you do have a Haiti where you have an agricultural sector, even though it may be poor in many ways, but that does produce things, even though perhaps we cannot feed, we are not independent in terms of feeding ourselves. So you do have a resistant Haiti, a fighting Haiti, a cultural Haiti, a vibrant, a musically as well as literature wise Haiti. So that is the Haiti that I take my inspiration from. And that is the Haiti that thrives in me. And that is the Haiti that thrives pretty much to the countryside. So one may hear that even today, with the huge crisis that we're living through with gangs takeover of the capital city, but you have in other areas children who are going to school, people who are fighting. So that is the resistant Haiti that to me is extremely significant, and it is kind of the mother earth of Haiti that I take my inspiration from.
It sounds like Haiti is a state of mind almost.
Yes, I think you got it right, Dr. Rhonda. Hate is a state of mind, and to me, it means really resistance in all the multiple facets that that resistance actually means. Because, for example, if I take where you went, Gwen Richardson, in the North, it is only because of pressure from the United States that they stopped the boats going, but boats were still going about 2 months ago. And then they said, well, wait a minute, you have a state of emergency in the capital and boats are still coming. So they said, okay, let us then just stop it. But basically, if the boats wanted to come, they could still go because in the northern area, there are international planes that are flying in and the boats could still be going. So you have different Haitis. The main area of the conflict is the capital city, the kind of a central area, and also the rice region, the Artibonite region. But the southern area is pretty much functioning, although I cannot say that economically things are very viable because Port-au-Prince as a central place also impacts the fact that Port-au-Prince is having issues also impacts the rest of the country.
Mhm. Now, when was Haiti colonized? Was the trajectory of Haiti in terms of was there slavery there? Was it like mirroring what was happening in the United States from a historical standpoint?
Yes and no. There was slavery in Haiti. However, and I think that's where that is something very significant in the history of the world, is Haiti had the first slave revolt that succeeded in
Yes.
Mhm.
sending the colonial power, which was French, back home.
Is this the one that
And
was led by Toussaint Louverture?
exactly.
Yeah,
Toussaint
that was
Louverture
what I was
started
trying
leading
to
it.
remember.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
was a Toussaint Louverture started leading it, but Napoleon's troops set a trap for him. So he was sent in jail in France where he died. But then it was a coalition. So you had Dessalines, you had Pétion, and the Haitian resistance really managed to throw away the French colonial regime in 1804. And
Okay.
on the 1st of January, 1804, independence of Haiti was declared. However, and I think that is something that is significant, the colonial powers refused to recognize that Haiti was independent because they thought it would send a signal to Black folks in a Martinique, in Guadeloupe, in Curacao, in a Jamaica, and in other areas so that the slaves could rise up. So they refused to recognize Haiti's independence. And it took several years for them to do so. And it was not until actually past 1815 that they actually did this. Sorry, 1835 that they actually did this. And so there is a big restoration movement in Haiti, whereas the French ask us to pay back the fact that the white folks, the colonial people, actually lost their land. And so there is a huge restoration movement in Haiti trying to ask the French for payback, not only for slavery, not only for the colonialism, the suffering that we went through, but for what we call the debt that Haiti paid back to the colonizers. So there is a very rich history of Haiti, of resistance, and resistance that I believe is recognized throughout the Black world. And whenever I went to Africa, Haiti was also seen as like, it's a beacon. It's the first Black republic in the world.
So do you touch on a lot of this history in your book because your book is about family. It's and it takes place in Haiti. So do you draw on a lot of that history in the book?
I do and I don't. And the reason I say I do and I don't, it remains a personal, it is a memoir. It remains a personal, a family, universal history. However, to set the tone in terms of what was happening, it was important to have to talk about that history. And my mother in particular was one who, wherever we were sitting in the car or waiting somewhere, my mother was a teacher, but whenever we sat somewhere or whenever we're passing a street, she would always say, well, this is the history. And she would tell us about this hero or this heroine or something like this. And it was important, at least in what I was living, because there was a fascist regime that was going on in Haiti at the time. A lot of killing, people disappearing, and it was important to show that. And it influenced us. It influenced the way we live. You couldn't speak very loudly. Whenever people, outsiders came, you had to shut up because you thought maybe there were a spy who would tell somebody that, this family is talking bad about the regime. So perhaps less about the history, but about the politics of what was going on and the different regime and how it affected my family and the fear that we had. Sometimes we had to hide under the bed because there was shooting going on. So I do talk about that overall political climate that we lived under and the fear and the trauma that we lived with. And if I may tell a story, last week I found a woman who was my neighbor when I was little, and her
Wow.
father had disappeared. And I wanted to tell her about the book so somebody else would not have to tell her. So I actually talked to her for the first time in, I don't know how many decades, to tell her, I talk about your father disappearing and how it affected me throughout my life. And she was so, it was a bittersweet moment in that she said, I'm ordering 4 books because I have 3 children. So I'm ordering one for each one of them so they are aware of their history. And I got the impression that somehow this was a conversation that she had never had with her children. Maybe I'm
Mm.
wrong, but the way she said it, it's important for them to know that history. I got the impression that maybe that's going to start a huge family conversation about
Yeah.
the grandfather and the father who disappeared and that nobody talked about for so many years.
You
Well,
know,
your book is probably going to be validation
mm,
that maybe without that, she didn't really have that much of the ability to share, you
Exactly.
know, but you writing about it gives like a second person, a second sighting of the situation that she can share with her
Yeah.
children.
Silence is kind of insidious, and
Yes.
they
right, right.
so that's why the title of the book, because I decide to break the silence on so many things that affected me as a child, and some of them it took 50 years for me. Some of the secrets I learned about after 50 years and actually broke the silence of them. So I think this woman who I spoke to, my former neighbor, and she was somewhat older than me. She was more my sister's a playmate. But somewhere along the line, I think this is going to start conversations, and I hope that it will help with the healing because the book also is about healing. It
Yeah.
is about it's a reckoning, but it is about healing from all of these things that people didn't talk about. And it is also about
Right.
my healing because I really went through the ringer, as they used to say, in writing the book, in trying to come out a whole after having discovered so many things, after having faced so many things and faced, for example, my mother in terms of why did you do this? Why didn't you tell us? So I think there is a lot of healing to be done. And all families have secrets, and
Right,
some
right.
people don't tell them. And I think this is an important moment, and I hope that the book stimulates that kind of healing.
Well, very, very quickly, I'm really glad that you brought that up because we talked about that when we had our conversation before. And actually, somebody made a comment that they didn't feel that it was biblical for you to talk about your family secrets because we're supposed to honor our father and our mother. But if we don't talk about these things, then we don't give ourselves a chance to heal from them.
Exactly. And I think I am one who, and I think it is very anchored in the book, this aspect of family, this African concept of family. And I think there is a chapter in it where my grandmother actually says, bring my grandchild to me. And I think it is honoring the legacies of our forefathers to actually, it is your own. And you cannot reject your own, and you cannot not know what is your own family. And it is important to build bridges. And so it is very much in the tradition of honoring mothers and fathers and seeking truth and seeking grace. And I think it is important also. It is not done in a bad, mean, derogatory way. It is done in a way of seeking the truth to heal and seeking the truth so you can have some grace to continue on with your life.
Right. Yeah,
Well, on
the
that note,
difference.
we do have to, yeah, we do have to end because we've reached the end of the segment. I think that's what you were about to say, Gwen.
Well, I was going to also say that there's a difference between something done maliciously and
Right.
something that's
Exactly.
done to try to
Respectful.
help and
Yeah.
heal
Exactly.
and still respect. So, your book is called Silence and Resistance, a memoir of a girlhood in Haiti, and it will be
Yes.
out in a month in September on September 16th. So, you all go online and pre-order your copy, and
Please.
it's by Monique Clesca.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Gwen, and thank you so much, Dr. Wanda. Thank you.
Thank you. You very,
Thank
very
you. It was a
interesting. We
pleasure.
got to learn a lot about Haiti and the history of the country.
Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a
Have a
great
wonderful
night.
evening. God bless
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're moving right along. And our next guest is with She Publishing, as you all know, She Publishing LLC is a friend of the show. And Shanitha Burton, who is the CEO brainchild behind She Publishing, will provide authors from She Publishing from time to time. And tonight we have Darion Knight, and he has a book called Did I Make You Proud? But he also has an interesting family history or dynamic with gymnastics. So I thought that was amazing hearing about that as well. So, Darion, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me. How are you guys doing?
We're
Doing
wonderful.
doing
Thank you for being here
great.
tonight.
Doing great.
I'm a little tired. I've been at work all day, so
Oh,
got the
me
same
too,
story
child.
everybody got.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is the end of the day. It's the end of the workday thing for all of us. So we, after the show, I generally don't do anything. Like that's it. Like I'm spent and I'm relaxing at the end. And Rhonda is an hour ahead, so she's probably sleeping.
Oh yeah, she's
Most
tired
likely.
right now.
Yeah, she's I stay up late anyway, but on show nights, I normally will fall asleep earlier because it might seem like sitting and talking to people
Right,
is not necessarily that require a lot of energy, but it really requires a lot of
right. You
spiritual,
got to lead the
mental.
conversations and
Yeah,
all of
you have
that.
to be engaged with people. You have to really listen to what their story is. And everybody has a unique story. So that's what we found with this show. And so, Rhonda,
Well,
I
speaking of
did want to
unique
tell you,
stories,
well, I
what?
wanted to tell you, I was doing my count today and we're up to 778 um, guests that we've had on the show. So we've been tracking when we're going to cross the 800 mark. And it's going to be probably the end of September or the 1st of October where we have.
Well, I wish I could have been number 800.
Well, yeah, and we celebrate when we get to the 100 of whatever, 700 or every 100, we do celebrate the guest that's reached that number. So I'm not sure exactly because it's not interviews, it's guests. So
Okay.
some guests have been on more than once. And so it's individual people. So
Okay.
anyway, you are joining us from what's the Windy City Invitational? What is that?
So Windy City Invitational was my gymnastics competition. I host well, not just me, my wife and I, we host a gymnastics competition at Navy Pier in Chicago. So
Okay.
it's one of the largest gymnastics competitions in the country.
Wow.
It's not the largest yet, but it's one of the
It's one of
largest.
the largest. And how long have you been doing this?
So we bought the gym in 2018, but I've been involved with gymnastics since I was 3 years old.
Oh, okay. So you were a gymnast yourself?
I was.
And what was
Yeah, I can.
your big thing, your specialty, your
So
best?
actually, I was an all-arounder. So like,
Okay.
I did all 6 events. So the men have 6 events: floor, pommel horse, rings, vault, parallel bars, and high bar. So I was kind of balanced in all of them. So yeah, like my scores counted for everything. So
Oh, okay. I watched the Olympics, and gymnastics and track and field and swimming. Those are the ones I
okay,
really watch, like the whole thing. So I really watch the women more than the men.
yeah, that's
But
how it usually is.
oh, okay, is it?
They don't show the guy. They don't show us enough love. The guys, they need to show us a little bit more love.
Well, what got you interested in gymnastics? I know you said you've been doing it since you were 3, so you kind of grew up with it.
Yeah, so it's actually it's my mother. Like she says I was flipping off of the couches and all that kind of stuff. So before I got hurt, she wanted me to do something, you know. So yeah, she found a gym. It was on the south side of Chicago, and the lady who ran the gym was Lynn Allen. She actually still coaches to this day.
Okay.
Wow. Talents manifest in children pretty early. I tried doing a flip on the bed. This is just an anecdote. I tried to do a flip on the bed when I think I was 8 or 9.
So
To
we tell
flip,
all of our students, because I also own a gymnastics facility in Batavia. We tell all our gymnasts, don't do gymnastics at home. I tell my
yeah,
daughter that too, and she doesn't want to listen, but you know.
yeah, it didn't end well because I flipped on the floor, but I bit my tongue, and
What?
I have
That
a
is crazy.
separation of my tongue right now
Because of
because of
that.
that.
So
Because of
any of
that.
my students that may happen to
Listen,
be watching this is
listen.
why I say don't do gymnastics at home.
Yeah, I was screaming, and my mom had to stop the bleeding. She used ice. We probably should have gone to the ER or whatever, but back then you did, unless you had a broken bone, you did you took
Yeah,
yourself at home.
you handle that right at
That's
home.
Yeah.
that's yeah. I
Probably
mean,
tried to do your own surgery too.
yeah. Well, not quite that, but the bleeding finally stopped. But I couldn't really eat like for a week. It was really so I never tried it again.
Well, it's so cool that we're talking about gymnasts. I was in Philadelphia, not this past weekend, but the weekend prior, and I met this lady who is pretty. I don't know if you can see it with the background on and everything, but I don't.
No.
Oh shoot,
Okay,
You
well,
missed, you
messed
lost
it
it.
up.
yeah,
I messed it up. I'm gonna try to come back to it.
trying to
But
bring
anyway,
it back.
she was a history maker herself, and she was like, she's from here in Baltimore, from Baltimore,
Okay.
but she's like she was like the first black gymnast at I think in Iowa, something like that. It was
Okay.
yeah. Let me see if I don't know if you can see that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can
You see
see it.
it now?
We can see it
Yeah.
there.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I want to talk with her. Her name right now escapes me, but she was a pretty. If I said her name, you would probably know it. And
Especially back in the day, it wasn't a lot of
It
us.
wasn't
So
that's what I was about to
no.
say. There weren't a lot of black gymnasts back in the day, so I'm quite sure if I could find her name, and I told you would know it. But I just think it's really cool when we meet these trailblazing people in sports that don't really see a lot of us in them.
yeah,
Right.
this is definitely one of those. Like now, we're getting a lot more exposure because of Simone and Donnell
Right.
Wittenberg, John Orozco. Some of those guys
Mhm.
brought
Yeah,
a lot of attention to it. But before that,
before Simone, it was Gabby.
right,
And before
right,
Gabby, it was the young lady who's
Dominique
from
Dawes.
Houston. Yeah, Dominique Dawes. And she's from Houston. So is uh Simone.
yeah.
Simone's
Simone,
from
yeah,
Spring. She's from Spring, which is like a suburb of Houston. So they had a big gym here because the other girls from here, she's not black, but she was like Redden. What her name?
Mary Lou.
Yeah, I think she's from here. We have a big gymnastics like complex.
Yeah, in
That,
Texas, yeah, that's Region 3. So Region 3
a
is
lot of people.
definitely, it's a lot. I
Mhm.
think they actually split their seasons in half too. Like they do two state championships, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, so it's a big sport here, and we produce a lot of winners from this area.
Yeah, you actually have. I actually I was at a competition, was at national championships a couple weeks ago in New Orleans, and it's Tom Meadows is one of the big coaches. Like he's produced a lot of Olympians, and he's from Texas too.
Okay, yeah. So now, what do you all do in your gym with your gym program? Do you
So
have
my
boys
gym,
and girls? Do you
we have
focus on
boys,
the?
girls, everything. So we start kids at 3 years old. We do a parent and tie class, and then we go all the way to the higher level team classes too. So yeah,
Okay,
our gym, like I said, we bought our gym in 2018. We started, it was a smaller gym, and our numbers have grown like just dramatically since then.
okay. So what the parents that bring their kids, are they looking for just like after school activities? Are they looking to have their kids go to the Olympics or all of that?
It's a little bit of all of that because you have some kids like that just want to do gymnastics to build like the core strength that the gymnasts have, because gymnastics core is everything and upper body. So
Right.
they it helps with every sport that you can possibly do, after gymnastics. So they bring them here for core strength, hand-eye coordination, balance, all of that you can develop in gymnastics. But then you have the parents who have the Olympic dreams too. So we have team programs also. So we do a lot here. And like I said, we also host a pretty large gymnastics competition.
Okay. So are your kids in gymnastics? They didn't have a choice or
My daughter is definitely in the gym. Um, at the beginning, like my wife and I talked about, like when she was younger, she had to be in gymnastics just to build the same things that I was talking about, the core strength and all that kind of stuff. But then we also want her to be like well-rounded. We don't want to just have to do gymnastics. Okay, you want to try basketball. She just tried that. She wants to do swimming, all of that kind of stuff. We just don't limit her to gymnastics.
okay.
Well, that's good to be an all-around athlete, even if she doesn't specialize in one thing. The health aspect is off the charts because she's
Exactly.
constantly
And team building too. People don't
yeah,
think of gymnastics as a big team, but just learning how to work with other people. Your score is going to count to help your team win the championship. So you got to focus on what you do and make sure you're strong in your strongest event to help the team. And that helps learning how to work with people later on in life too.
right.
Yeah,
Now, how
sports
did
is a
you?
very good way to teach team,
Right, it is.
team building
Yes,
and, putting yourself where it's not all about you.
exactly.
Right. So, how
Mhm.
did you link with She Publishing?
So she publishing. Shanitha is actually my cousin.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay. Small world.
oh, okay.
And so what happened was like I had been wanting to write a book forever. I actually didn't know she had a publishing company. So I wanted to
Mm.
write a book and I was talking about it and then my cousin who she's married to was like, I call her Finesse. Like, no, Finesse has a publishing company. And I'm like, really? And I had been writing stuff down the whole time, but I didn't know how to make it work. So once I reached out to her, she helped me get through it, and 2 years later, because it took me a long time, but she helped me get through it, and yeah, and the work came out, and I like it.
Okay.
That's
And your
awesome.
title, Did I Make You Proud? Um, where does that derive? What made you come up with that title?
What came from what made me come up with that? It was like it wasn't what people would think it was. Like, um, did I make you proud because of all these good things I've done, right? Because that's what most people talk about. I've done all of these good things, but for me,
Right.
I haven't always done the best things, right? So it was me like doubting myself a little bit. Like, man, because I've done all of these other things, right? Well, the things that I've done now, like outweigh the bad, right? So it's like, let me tell the story of what I did and how I came up. So then maybe other people see this and realize just because I started off in one spot doesn't mean I can't grow to be something else.
Amen. Absolutely.
True. And most people, they don't want to be defined by their mistakes or their failures. They rather learn from them. And some people try to hold you back because of things that you've done in the past or
Right.
mistakes that you made. But you have to be focused and directed on where you want to go and what your plan is. And you have to have an attitude that nothing is going to stop you from reaching those goals.
Like for me, like growing up in inner city Chicago in the 90s, it was tough. Like you being in the neighborhood, like you didn't have to be a gang member, but because of the neighborhoods you came from, you were always affiliated. So especially being a guy, it was tough being around because you had to be tough enough to survive. But I did gymnastics too, so I also had to live in that world, which also wasn't. It wasn't a lot of people that looked like me, so it was hard balancing both of those lives, So it was tough, but we're here.
Did gymnastics help you with how can I say, fighting, like defensive, being able to defend yourself?
Not necessarily. What it did do, it made me really strong. Right?
Or were you able to run fast? Sometimes running fast can be an answer.
it could help, but
He wasn't running.
that's
He wasn't doing that.
I couldn't do too much running. That's my family didn't work like that.
Okay,
My mom,
I think that might be more for girls, but running. I normally what would happen for me? I was always a small person. I'm still a small person. When people meet me, in fact, both Ron and I are short. She's taller than me, but when we go out and meet people, they say, "Wow, I didn't know you all were so short." They always say that. But I was always a small person, so sometimes people would bully me, but there was always a big person that would come to my defense. So I never had to fight.
Yeah, I had to do a little fighting. It's just because people test you because I did gymnastics, right?
Right.
And gymnastics doesn't have the most masculine, reputation. So it was like people wanted to see like who I was and what I was about.
And you showed them who you were.
I may have.
Yeah, you can kick. You could kick. That's part of gymnastics, being able to kick or flip. I watch what they do. It's really amazing what people can do with their bodies if they train their bodies to be flexible.
Well, do you have a copy of your book with you?
Right here.
Okay, now when I first saw the cover, before I read that you were in gymnastics, I thought it was military. Did you?
Yeah, it does kind of remind you of the flag a little bit, but that's an Olympic gold medal.
It's the medal, right? And so if you look at the book, so that's kind of what I had to add gymnastics in there front and center because gymnastics has been front and center of everything I've done. Like I've never had another job. I've always taught gymnastics, coached gymnastics, owned gymnastics business. So I've never did anything else. But if you look at the cover, it like has me, it on the bottom picture has me smiling, which I never do until like recently.
And I didn't see you on the cover. Let me see.
Yeah, so in the back.
Oh, it's like in the background. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that it was meant to be that way because we wanted to make sure, like, even the picture of me doing gymnastics is hidden even more because sometimes I hid what I did when I was younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
for the obvious reasons. Like you know what I mean, gymnastics wasn't a tough sport, and I was in the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was hidden. But then, like now, with the medal being front and center, it kind of showcases now. Okay, now I'm really proud of what I did. That's all I talk about now, because every business that I have pretty much deals with gymnastics, right? So except for one, the real estate business doesn't deal with gymnastics, but gymnastics allows me to pay for it.
Yeah. When you took gymnastics growing up, did you take it at school, or did you have to go to a training center?
So initially, I started at a little small facility in Chicago, and then I had to once I outgrew that place talent wise like pretty fast. So
Mm-hmm.
then the next gym my mom found for me was Beverly Gymnastics Center. I was there for like 2 years, outgrew that one, and then the other gym was in Glenwood, so about 45 minutes to an hour away from my house. So I did that like 5, 6 days a week.
Oh,
Wow, that's a lot.
wow. That is. How did you get back and forth?
So my mom would have like uncles, cousins, my dad sometimes. Like we enlisted a lot of people to make sure I made it to practice because she was
Oh,
working and
yeah,
everybody was working. So they
yeah.
had to make it work.
That's great that you had that kind of
Yeah,
support
I agree.
for what you wanted to do, and it's something non-traditional.
Right.
You normally for Black kids it's football or basketball. Uh, Now people are playing soccer, baseball a little bit
A little
too,
bit. Yeah.
because of little leagues. My brothers were in little league, even if they couldn't play
Okay.
that well. It's just an activity, you know,
Yep.
that they were able
And
to do.
then like I don't actually know how my parents afforded it because gymnastics is like pretty expensive. So they
Right.
had to sacrifice a lot to because I traveled because I was the level I traveled a lot too. So
Mhm.
and back then, before all of this other stuff happened with gymnastics, like my coach would come pick me up from school. We would get on the plane and we would go because I did a lot of competitions out of the state.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So, how far did you get in terms of what's the highest level you got to in the
So
years you
actually,
were
I
actively?
was
Wow.
I was training for the Olympics when I got hurt. So that's what
Mm.
stopped my gymnastics career. I got injured and a shoulder injury. I had a pretty bad shoulder injury, but I trained at the Olympic Training Center for 2 years as part of the junior national developmental team. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and that the Olympic Training Center is in Colorado Springs, so I have to go there, do training camps and all that kind of stuff, and then I would train in my gym to try to prepare for because I was going to go 96. A lot of people I know, they were in the 96 Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Who was what females? Because I don't watch the men as much. I can't call the men's names. The
96
females I can call
female.
them. Who was
I'm trying to
popular
think.
then? Do you remember?
Not right offhand. Like I
Okay.
was with the guys, so it was
Right.
Lane Wilson, John Roethlisberger, all those guys.
Okay. And where were the 96? Was that in Atlanta?
I was in Atlanta.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was in Atlanta,
Mm,
and I actually didn't watch it. I didn't watch the guys at all because by that time, like after I got injured, like I didn't watch gymnastics. Period. Like you couldn't get me to turn
yeah,
on gymnastics.
I bet.
So
Mm.
I bet. I
yeah,
mean, because it's
96.
like you did all that work and then you couldn't even go like
Right.
that was your dream,
Well,
I'm
see,
sure.
that's what I was about to say because as I listened to you, I don't know if you did you ever watch The Neighborhood with Said the Entertainer?
Not really.
Okay, so on the show, he plays this dad who has two sons, and one of the sons was on his way to being a professional baseball player, and he got hurt,
Okay.
and he was kind of in almost a depression where he didn't even want to be around the sport anymore because it hurt too much to think about what he was building with his career. But his dad was able to get him out of that, and he started being a baseball coach. So when I hear your story, I wonder if you may have gone through a process like that. You were hurt, you were training for the Olympics, I mean, you didn't just bounce back up and say, okay, I'm healthy now, I'm going to go start teaching. I mean, so what
Oh,
was that process like
so I
between getting
hated it,
hurt?
right? I
Mm,
hated the sport. I don't want to have anything to do with it. What got me back into it, I came home from school. I went to SIU for a little bit, partied a little bit too much. My mom was like, listen, you need to get a job, right? So what happened was the lady who owned the gym that I used to train at, I don't know how she got my number at my grandfather's house, but she called. And the first time she called, she was like, hey, have you ever thought about coaching? I'm like, no, bang, that's it, end the conversation. She called back, and with a little bit of pressure from my mother, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna check into it. So checked into it. I went there, and still I wasn't into it. It's just I had to get a job. Um, kept coaching, and the feelings started coming back, right?
Mm.
And I started studying more about coaching and going to workshops and stuff like that. And then I started coaching a couple guys, and they kind of like helped me get the love again. And like a couple of them I still talk to this day.
mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be the case for a lot of things that we do where it's a big disappointment. And then we just kind of like, no. And then sometimes we're able to find a way back. Sometimes, not every time though.
Right, this one was just it was meant to happen,
Yeah,
because
and
like I
I'm
said,
sure
I've
your
never done
mama was
anything else.
working on you. Your mama was working on you. That's what she was working behind the scenes. She said, "I got to get this boy out of. He needs to get out of his feelings and back on the what do you call the beam?
Right
Back on the
path.
beam. Back on
Yeah,
the floor. Back."
right.
So
So,
now
do you
someone
discuss a
asked.
lot of this in your book?
I do. I talk about a lot of it. Just like the way I felt about the sport, and all that, the mental stuff I was dealing with because I didn't have the sport. Um, Stuff I dealt with being the only black gymnast on most of my teams. I did get a few when I was like a little bit later on. One of my best friends was on one of my teams, but I talk about a lot of that and talk about like how it helped me, like in business, how it helps me stay focused, right? Because in gymnastics you got to be focused, and
Yeah,
sometimes laser focused, because if you miss one thing,
yeah.
that's the
Right.
difference between you walking out of there or you going to the hospital. So you got to
Mhm.
be laser focused, and that's what helps me in business.
Well, that's
That
and
makes a lot
somebody
of sense.
asked, "Was your book a memoir?" And it is a
Yes,
memoir.
yes.
So that's a social book club. I don't know who's behind the social book club, but whoever
Her
it is,
name's Lisa.
they watch the show every week. Her name is
Yeah.
Lisa. You said
Yeah.
okay.
She's
Yeah,
very supportive.
she's very supportive of the show.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Oh, she said if you were in Chicago, you were using your fist. That's what she said.
You had to. You had to, especially in the '90s. Like I said, it was rough in the '90s, but hey, I made it through it, and I try to help guys from the neighborhood that I can, bring them up and try to be a positive role model. I'm actually starting my first gymnastics foundation. It's through
Okay.
my competition where I'm because I worked for the Chicago Park District for 12 years, and last year, not last year, a couple years ago, I hosted a competition, and it was somebody couldn't compete because they couldn't afford the tuition, right? So I'm
Mhm.
like, in my mind, I want to do something so that never happens again. So I'm using profits from the company, from the competition, to like fund. This year, I'm doing one girl and one boy from Chicago Park District, and I'm
Okay.
trying to pay like their
Wow.
whole tuition for the year. And if the more it grows, the more kids I'll be able to sponsor. So that's kind of my goal.
That's wonderful. And in our final minute, if you could give some advice to young people who want to enter gymnastics, what would be a couple of pieces of advice you can offer them?
So if they're in the Chicago area, I would say find their local gym. Like Chicago Park District is great. They had the fees are more reasonable than the private clubs. And no matter if they love the sport, like once they get in, they get in and get all of the strength that comes with it, the cool flips and all that kind of stuff. but stay in it for the discipline, right? Because the discipline will help you grow later in life. You won't see it right now, but later in life, when you're at work or you're trying to create businesses or things like that, it helps you to stay focused and stay on task.
Okay, well, that's good advice, and that can be for anybody, not just people
Yes,
who.
it can.
Right. Well, we did put the link to your book on the She Publishing website
Thank you. Thank you so
into the
much.
chat. So we hope everybody goes and clicks the link, purchases this book, because you may not have been able to realize your Olympic dreams, but you're still a huge part of Olympic history. So we're very happy to have had you on the show tonight.
This has been fun. I'm glad that I can come. I was actually at the workshop last year.
Oh, you were at the National
I was in
Black Book
Houston last year.
Festival?
Yeah, I was at the book
Okay.
festival. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I got a chance to meet you, but
I had a great time though.
You're the first person with a gymnastics background. Rhonda can correct me if I'm wrong, that we've had on the show. So it was a unique conversation.
And have me back for number 800. I want to be number 800. But thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much for being a guest. And congratulations. You're doing some great work. That's so
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay. And have a great night.
Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Thank you.
So the first three guests we had on the show were all new to the show. And it's amazing that even though we interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people in the literary realm, there's always new people that are doing new work and people who are continuing to do work that we had to wrestle and get them on the show. So we have some of those coming up. So as we lead up to the book festival, which is only like 8 weeks away, something like that. So this
year is flying by.
It is. Tell me about it.
I think it's flying by because I'm doing all this doggone traveling. That's why
you have been
I'm
busy.
staying right in my house Saturday. I said I'm not going anywhere.
Well, I don't have any trips out of town planned until November when we go to the Texas Book Festival. So, but working on the National Black Book Festival is like a trip because it's a lot of work. Well, we have a lot that we're doing this year, and we're making some changes. We are highlighting our Divine Nine authors, and we're doing something special with the local chapters of Divine Nine organizations in the Houston metro area. So right now we have about 20 Divine Nine authors that have signed up for the festival. So from all the orgs are represented. So that's good. So anyway, most of them have some kind of literary component. They reach out with children with literacy. And Rhonda did her sign that they do, the Zeta sign that my daughter does too. My daughter's a Zeta. So I think it's 3 Zetas. It's you and it's 2 more. So
yeah, one of them is Lillian, my real good girlfriend we went to college together. This is going to be her first year. Yeah, Lillian Joseph. She's releasing her new children's book series, so I'm really excited for her.
Oh, okay. Did you know that she was coming? Did you know she was coming before she signed up?
Yeah, she messaged me and told me she was going to be signing up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's great. So I'm not Greek, but I respect the D9 people because you all have built some organizations that have withstood the test of time, and not everybody can say that. And the camaraderie is very admirable. I mean, it's lifelong friendships.
This is true.
So our final guest has been on the show before, and her company is a friend of the show in terms of it's BK Royston Publishing. Her authors come on the show quite frequently, and Julia Royston, she's in the house again.
I never heard of her.
Is that where she gonna go?
I love you, Julia.
I love you, back.
But
Ooh,
Julia,
y'all got me up late past my
I
bedtime.
know, I thought about
too.
that, but we appreciate you staying up. And whenever you're on late, you still have the energy. I don't know if you
Oh
collapse after the
yeah,
show.
it's
Okay.
just who I am, boo. It's just who I am.
So Julia will be doing two workshops at the festival. Well, she'll be doing one workshop on having the making your book into a brand, something like that. And
Yeah.
then writing the book that builds your brand. That's what it's called. And then she's going to be on the publishers panel, and you'll be on the panel. You'll be moderating, and then I don't know if you met Marvin Cloud. I don't think he's a local publisher. He's a Houston-based publisher. I don't. He came in the past, but not. It was before COVID. So um, and I have you. What did you come before COVID,
I
or was
did. I
it
was
all
there in
after?
2019.
I think yeah. So he was before that. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, met
Okay.
him.
Well, I look forward to meeting him. I'm
Yeah,
always I don't I always look forward to meeting other publishers. I think it's a wonderful thing.
yeah. So BK Royston Publishing, for the people who don't know what it's about and what you do and how many books you all have published and how many books you personally written and published. Give everybody the rundown first on the numbers, because every time you come on, it's like an astronomical uh, increase in the number of books. You all churn some books out with a lot of different authors.
I
So
do.
give us an update on where you
Uh,
all are.
Okay, so BK Royston Publishing is 17 and a half years old. Be 18 years old in February 2026. So that's
Okay.
kind of my anniversary date. To date, I have published, I'm probably at 490 for everybody. I'm running toward 500. That's what I tell people. And to date, I've written 145. I've got, let's see, one, two, four proof copies right here. Yeah. So
Okay. So what now, are those children's books?
they are. They're primarily, this is, it goes along with one other one that I have published already, but London's a Dancer. I did kind of a creatives collection. And
Okay.
then I don't have the other one. And then this one, I have an Evan Dreams of Being an Engineer. And I've got another one. I don't have it handy, but she's a lawyer. So I have a
You have a
nurse, I have
careers.
doctor,
You
careers.
have a
Now
careers.
I
Okay.
can't do every single one. I've done four: engineer, lawyer, doctor, and nurse. And so then I'm gonna do like A to Z careers, because the teacher's like, oh, we need a whole, there's a whole push for careers, trades, the whole 9 yards. And so I said I'll do it, but I can't do 26. No. I can't too much. Too much. I mean, I'm running toward 200, but no, I've got other things that I really want to roll out. So that's kind of where we are. We do everything from, I tell people, from your head to Amazon, and do writing, everything and beyond, because I just had a class right before I came on that was on Canva. So, having artists and authors to be able to get a graphic up relatively quick, looks good, but relatively quickly, because sometimes we don't have the budget to play a graphic designer. Now, if I something
Mhm.
major and important, yes, I'm paying graphic
Yeah.
people. Yes, I'm paying illustrators. But there are sometimes the things that Dr. Ronna can tell you. We have live shows, podcasts, interviews every week.
Yeah.
Paying somebody to do
Right.
that every week is very costly. So we need to make sure that we have a template to be able to do that. So it's those kinds of things that authors ask for. They ask for help me with, and that's usually what it turns into. And I really strive to meet the needs of authors as much as possible. I see a need. Sometimes they don't want to jump in, but I keep putting it out there because there's somebody who needs it and needs the help and assistance, and I get the questions, and so I really strive to answer them. So that's kind
Yeah,
of where
I
we
have a
are.
graphics person. We have the show every week. We have four guests every week. So
Absolutely.
I would never attempt to do it. I have a person who does it every week. But because it's really a template, she doesn't charge me a lot. but she
Right.
turns it out fast, and I just send her the names of the pictures, and she puts everything in there.
Right.
Now Rhonda I've seen her work Canva, and I did it once. I tell you what I did it for. I did it for my daughter's bridal shower. I created an invitation to her bridal shower using Canva, and it stressed me out so much that I said, I am not going, this is not my lane. I don't know if it was the emotion of this event. This is
Well,
not
one of the
my
things
lane.
is, yeah, but I have two shows every week. I have two shows
Okay.
every week. I go live on Sunday morning at 9:30, and I'm subject to be promoting a book. That's too much to have a person. One graphic, okay, maybe I could have somebody do it quickly or whatever, but no, as much as I put out every week, no, I'd be in the poorhouse, and my grandma and them say I'd be in the poorhouse.
Well, one thing that I did this year, it wasn't Canva, it was my graphics person. Because this year we have a flyer. I know you've seen it because Julia,
Yes,
you're on
ma'am.
two
I
of them.
have.
We
Yes,
had a
ma'am.
flyer for every author that's
Yes.
registered. That's 120.
Yeah.
And then we have one for the seminars. And what I had her do was create an interactive PDF.
Yes.
So all I have to do is drop in the information in the picture and then save it as a JPEG. And so I can keep it going that way, because there's no way I would want to pay her to do 120.
So now you understand what I mean, that you created a way and a system to be able to do that.
I have an assistant who's not just, I don't just have a graphics person. I already have the template the way I want the template to look. So all he does is drop the photos in each week. But there are other things he's doing for me. He goes on the show with me. He does a lot of stuff that, Robert does.
The back end stuff.
For you. Right. He does a lot of back end stuff. He's the one who chops my show up into reels and highlights.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I have my husband for that.
Yeah, he does all of that for me.
Okay.
And then I have another assistant who does a lot of my admin work for me. He emails people for me. He compiles the worksheets, the spreadsheets and everything. Believe me, I can't, I used to do all of this stuff by myself and people were amazed. I thank God for these assistants I have right now, because they take so much off of my plate right now.
Yeah, but the problem is not the problem, but the great thing is, if something happened, you could do it. You could do it. I have a problem with I don't know. I don't want to. People can be easily taken advantage of.
Right.
You have somebody who you trust, but
that's the reason why, if I'm going to pay you to do something I know how to do, you better know how to do it better than me.
Yeah, or at least you have guidance, and you're directing them. I know what highway I want you to go on. I'm not going to let you just kind of freestyle willy-nilly. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
so
at least
it's that whole. I love it, and that's a part of the business of whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
the business of books, the business of media, the business. Even if you're just going live, every week, if you're promoting a ministry, you're promoting your nonprofit, there are so many advantages to having graphics and being professional, because we're all going to need multiple streams of income. I say that, and I say it everywhere I go. You're going to need multiple outlets.
You hit the nail on the head, is being professional, because there's nothing wrong with doing, well, I'm not going to say there's nothing wrong with doing it, but if you have to do things yourself, or you choose to do things yourself, that's fine. But you still want to present yourself as a professional. Don't just throw things together and be raggedy and just think people are supposed to understand that you're doing it by yourself.
I'm sorry, I'm starting. But that's the beauty of having a class, to be able to do that, because everybody in there is like, I'm striving to be more independent. There was a ministry leader, and she's like, I have a whole media team, but that's not fair, because I don't know anything. I can't do anything in a pinch. I love them. I appreciate them, but I need to be independent, because depending on other people, they have lives. Other things can happen. If I need something in a pinch, I need to be able to do that. So,
and people
they're
can be
going
flaky.
to class. Yeah.
And people can be flaky. Now, the media manager for the show is my stepson. So he does like the intro, the outro. He brings the show on and off. He does all of the separation of the interviews. He does the YouTube channel. He does the Buzzsprout, which puts us on all of the podcast
Absolutely. I use
platforms.
Buzzsprout as well. Yeah.
He does all of that. And so I don't have to think about it. And, you know, he was doing tech stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
He's been techie
And that's a
his whole
beautiful,
life.
I mean, my husband was in tech for 32 years. So
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing to have that already in your house. Yay!
Yeah. Yeah,
Yay!
it is. It is. And so, and then, you know, the video stuff that we do, George Powell does it. He's actually the minister of music at my church. He's the choir director, but he has an amazing ability to create videos. So he does all our video work, all the commercials, all of the video, the video about the show, any video work we get done, he does it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you need to have professional people.
You do. You do.
Because you don't want your stuff to look amateurish.
Yeah.
You want it to look like it's a major operation. People, you know, people always say, where's your show based? And they always give credit to New York or Los Angeles or somebody. No, it's not. No, it's right here in Houston.
Yeah.
We have
like, where's Jeffersonville, Indiana? I'm like, right before you get to Louisville, Kentucky, the last exit. No.
Right. And then you don't have, your costs are less because you're not in New York and California.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, everything would cost 5 times more if they had the ideas, which, you know, all the ideas don't necessarily emanate there. Really, a lot of the ideas that are coming out of there, they got it from other people that are from other places. So, you know, use your creative talents, but make it professional and know your strengths and weaknesses. Absolutely. And graphics is not my lane. When I watch Rhonda, when we go out of town and she's on her laptop putting together a flyer. By the way, Rhonda, that flyer that I said the font was too small, I saw it online. It was just right. I meant to tell you that. I meant to tell you. But she was doing it. I'm watching her meticulously make it bigger.
Well, after so long, you know what it's supposed to look like. Symmetrically, you're thinking, what? You know, no, but once you get it big, anyway, Ronnie, you know what it is.
I said, okay, there's no way I would.
But
do
you know,
that.
but this is still in line with my talk on writing the book that builds the brand, because you want not only the book you're writing to go along with your branding, but you are, of course, the number one part of your brand, yourself. Being able to communicate that effectively, being able to transfer that mission into a message, and then hopefully turn it into a movement. That's the ultimate where you want it to go. Now, I write in multiple genres. So I write, I'm not known for, in some circles, but in some other circles, I am known as a romance writer. I primarily have focused on children's books. I do write romance. I do write romance under a pen name too, as well. So I do.
What's the pen name, girl?
Cadence Royal.
Ooh.
Look
okay.
at you. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm able to be flexible and meet needs of multiple audiences. But when I'm looking for a brand book or something, a signature series, and I'm talking about my publishing company that's writing, well, first off, it's write the book that builds the brand. That goes along. I have a book that I've written that goes along with my talk, but also write, publish, and promote, which helps people even know the questions to ask a publisher or to how to start the book. And you self-published, you really didn't have much guidance. The book looks beautiful, but how am I going to sell it? It's time now to promote it. It's time now to So that is like my signature series that goes along with publishing and those types of things that really exudes my expertise in that area. But I write in multiple things that are just fun. I have an interest in, devotionals and things of that nature. But I believe that you should have a book that goes along with your business, your expertise, your number one. You can have multiple things, because I do have multiple things that I do, but there should be something that you can teach from, that you can speak from, that you can be interviewed from, a book that really, it doesn't take much. Even if it's midnight, you should be able to talk about it and move that mission. It should also lead people back to you. There should be a place where it should lead people, not just to buy the book, but to work with you. That people are able to say, oh, I want to know more. So whether that's a one-on-one, whether it's group coaching, whether that's a course, whether that is, a workshop you're having, whether that is an event you're having, people usually, if it's something that's helpful, it can be entertaining for book clubs. Lord knows I love book clubs. But then there should also be a book that leads people to want to work with you if that's what you're offering. And it should be your calling card. We used to say the book was the business card, but it's the introduction to your framework, the introduction to your standards, your method of doing work, your pedagogy, the way you work, the way you do what you do, and people get to know you that way, and then they want to work with you more. They want to be introduced to you more and work with you even more on another deeper level.
Well, that's great advice. And so Julia will be going into even more depth about
Absolutely.
that in her workshop that she's doing on Friday at 1:00, I think.
1:00, yeah.
Yes, because you're the first one on Friday.
I always say 2, but it's because I'm probably still on Eastern time.
Eastern time.
So I'm like 2:00. Yeah, 1:00.
Right.
Yeah.
1:00. That's the first one. And we're promoting the seminars much more this year, so people will come from the outside to
absolutely
attend the
I really
Friday
encourage
seminar.
people. I really highly encourage people, if you're in the Houston area, Houston's humongous. So if you're in the Houston area, you really need to take the time. If you've ever thought about writing a book, if you have ever thought about or you've written, you've journaled, that room is incredible amount of information as well as inspiration and motivation for you to do what you can do and how you can start. That room is filled with authors who have done trial and error, good, bad, how they promoted, how they didn't promote, what failed, what worked, the covers, the table setups, everything. And then not to mention the celebrity authors that are there. And I mean, it's an incredible event to be a part of and to come to learn as much as possible. So I would just take that Friday off and that Saturday come back so that you can maximize the information and maximize the opportunity to be able to meet authors of different genres, multiple genres in one place at one time and ask questions and actually see and take pictures and of course purchase their books as well. But even more so, if you're wanting to be an author, if you're wanting to write, if you started and it's a dream and it's a goal, or you, as I say, people, I've been prophesied to. Well, okay, let's work to fulfill that prophet. Oh, child, I can't tell you how many people they laid me on the floor and I was out. I was like, okay, well, what happened when you woke up? Did you start writing anything? Did you get a notebook? Whatever.
No.
So and able to you to start that process.
Yeah,
and get
the laying on of hands is not going to write the book.
No.
Faith
That's
without
just gonna give
words,
you the
it's dead. That's what people miss.
No.
If you have faith, you got to put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't write 145 books I have not written because somebody laid hands on me. They laid hands on me for strength and healing or whatever. But I've had to sit here, as they say, my hind parts in this chair and actually write it and make it happen. So yeah, I just encourage you to be there and to be a part of it, not just for my workshop, but all of the workshops, period. It's just, it's a wealth of information.
Well, I always tell people, don't just sit there and make the entire weekend about selling your book. Yes, we want you to get sales. We do. But if you make the entire weekend just about selling your book and you miss out on the valuable networking,
absolutely,
you miss out on meeting celebrity authors.
Yes.
You miss out on talking face to face with Amazon.
Yes, absolutely.
You miss out on scheduling yourself from podcasts.
Yes. You miss out on being, you want to say you want to be a New York Times bestseller? Get near one and find out how they did it. Find out. I mean, they may be a celebrity, but there are people who are quote unquote non-celebrities who are doing it too as well. What have been the
Definitely.
keys to that? What has been the key to having a book that sells, period, in that particular genre? I'm always asking fiction authors how they do it, because once people are loyal, they buy everything you have. But getting people interest to read your fiction, that's harder than a children's book. That's harder than a nonfiction. That's harder than a devotional. And so therefore, I don't care how many books I write, I'm always going to be asking questions, inquiring. I'm a forever learner. I'm an educator by trade, but I'm always a forever learner. And I cannot learn just being in this office writing it into myself. I have to get next to iron. Iron sharpens iron.
Sharpens
There's
iron.
some more
It sharpens
words.
iron.
You
Yeah.
all are, if you all are listening, you know, are the people who let them who will hear, let them hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Iron
Exactly.
sharpens iron. If you don't know what that means that if you're trying to achieve a goal, what will help you get there is being around other people that have similar interests that can help you get there and teach you, but be respectful and don't expect them to provide services for free.
Exactly.
That's definitely not what we're talking
Yeah.
about. If they
No.
provide a professional service, then pay them a professional price, because they have the experience that you lack. And so you need to, if you're serious,
Yeah.
nothing is free. So that's the first rule of economics.
Yeah.
Nothing is free. So,
Absolutely.
if people are professional, don't insult them by expecting them to write your book for you or any of that.
Now I did
And then
have
you
a
tell
lady
them that
say
you got a
that.
budget of $100.
Unless,
Yeah, well,
if you want to go.
well, I did, but I'm telling you, I did have a lady. She did not
Okay.
want to do any of the parts. She said, "I want you to write it and promote it." And I said, "And then put your name. I don't care how much you pay me. They're gonna say you're not Jane Doe.
Yeah.
I'm saying, no, I'm Julia Royston. And even if I'm a ghostwriter, the author is still going to have to do some promote. I don't care I've met New York Times bestsellers. I have met, people who have been traditionally published, self-published, independently published, hybrid, whatever you want to name it. And they all have to do some level of promotion. They all do. I don't care I don't care if New
I
York
put it
did
like
do it.
this.
They have to promote in some way,
I
shape, or
put it like this. When Denzel Washington has a
come on
new
through.
movie,
Yep.
what does he do? He
Yep.
goes on the talk shows and he
And the
promotes that.
podcast and the radio shows. You seen him? Because he's getting ready to come out with a new one with Spike Lee. Come on now.
So
They get ready to come out with a new movie.
Why is it that these millionaire actors understand that they have to promote their work, but we done sold one book and we think we're too good to do it?
Well, I don't know, because they get grander, whatever. Listen, y'all know I be seeing y'all on planes. Hey, convention centers waving. Listen, we everywhere. 40 events I did in 2024. And I'm gonna be close to that in 2025 because
Julia
I
and I were
know
together. We were together in Indiana.
we were together just in Indiana, and if and we'll be together again in Houston in October, and we'll might be together somewhere else. You talking about, I need to be more in the Midwest. I was like, come on, we going.
Yeah,
come
you have
on.
to get out and meet.
I wanted to
the
be in Atlanta, but I didn't
public.
get there.
You have to get out. You have to promote. The book is not going to sell itself. That's what a lot of people miss. They write a book and then they're like, oh, they just expect people to want to buy it just because they wrote it. That never happens. That never happens. So anyway, we're at the end of our time, Julia.
I know. I love y'all too.
On here, and because you talk fast, but you provide so much information, and it's like there's just not enough time, So to get the rest of it, you need to come to Julia's 2 workshops. Well, she's on a publisher's panel and her workshop on writing the book that builds your brand. So Julia Royston with BK Royston Publishing. That's how you can reach out to her. Tell them the website.
You can either go to my website, bkrroystonpublishing.com, or if you say, I've written a book, I need to talk to a publisher, go to talkwithroyston.com. Talk with Royston, that's my calendar. Jump on my calendar, talkwithroyston.com, and let's have a free conversation. Let's talk about it. We can move forward.
Okay. Well, we'll see you in a couple of months, Julia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have a great night. Say
You
hi to
too.
your husband.
Bye-bye. I will. Y'all be blessed. Bye-bye.
You too.
Okay, well, that is the end of the show for this week. We always have some amazing guests, and next week will be no different. So we will see you back next Tuesday for another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.